One of the topics that I wanted to tackle today, I didn't think we were going to touch on. I really didn't think this was even going to be a topic, but I'll throw the banner up there. Will Deebo be dealt
Oh
to the Pats? And
gosh.
this is an interesting story. Now, I don't know that there's anything to it, but the Patriots obviously need a wide receiver, and there's a guy named James Stewart who went on the radio 98.5, the flagship for the Pats in New England, and said the Pats are sniffing around for wide receivers, and then mentioned Deebo. He said, Deebo Samuel, I heard the Patriots got a text message from an NFL talent evaluator that the Pats are sniffing around Deebo Samuel. What do you think? I mean, Grant and I actually discussed this, and I think Grant might have thrown Deebo's name out as because we talked about, who's the 49er most likely to be dealt this offseason. And I think he threw out Deebo as at least one of the ideas. What do you think of the concept first of trading Deebo? And then what do you think of this report?
Well, okay, first of all, I mean Deebo's my favorite player in the league right now. I love Deebo Samuel, but if I was going to trade Deebo, the time was last offseason before you signed him to that extension. And I thought there was a real possibility there, and I was open to it. I mean, I felt like you could probably get quite a bit for him and you could make things work. Now you've got CMC on the team. It does seem a little redundant to have them both, but that cap hit is so much, Larry. I don't see a pathway where they can trade him because trades happen before June 1st. They don't usually happen after June 1st. And if it happens after June 1st, the 49ers are trying to be contenders. They're not going to just trade him for a future pick. They're going to want players now. So who are those players? Is there anybody on the Pats that makes sense? Because after June 1st, it starts to make a little bit more financial sense for the 49ers to do it. No shock to me that the Patriots are sniffing around. They absolutely do need a weapon. They do need a receiver of some sort. So I'm sure they're going to be sniffing around in a lot of organizations trying to find that guy. Deebo makes complete sense with a guy like Mac Jones. We saw how it worked with Jimmy Garoppolo. And so I would understand why they would be interested. I just don't see a scenario where the 49ers trade him this offseason with that cap hit. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I'm trying to even think, like looking at their roster, who I would even want coming back. And Deebo Samuel is the face of the 49ers. If you think of the Niners, you think of Deebo. And then, like if you're like me and you're in that room, I get the sense that like Armstead's the leader on the D and that Deebo is the leader on the O.
Mhm.
That's kind of my sense of it. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the players would say something else. I'm trying to think what I would want in return. Uh, Maybe Pierre Strong, who's a definite, speedy running back. I think I'd like to have him coming back. Uh, what do the Patriots have that's really worth? Josh Ushi,
Who's
the
their right
outside rush
tackle?
guy. He might not be bad to have. I wouldn't mind Jack Jones
Yeah.
or Jonathan Jones. Was it Jonathan Jones? Jack Jones was the rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, who I really liked this year. I mean, I guess if you could get Jack Jones, Marcus Jones,
I'd
you
love to
know,
have Marcus Jones. I wanted him last year in the draft.
yeah, I love Marcus Jones coming out of Houston. He would give the Niners a return guy. I think I'd probably want Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, and a pick. I mean, I want something major for Deebo. I might even want
Yeah.
more than that, but I think I would want definitely one of those DBs, definitely Pierre Strong, another speedy running back, another weapon, and probably a pick. I don't see that coming together. It's just that doesn't seem like. Here's the question I would have: What do you think the reaction would be by the fans if Deebo were traded? Do you think that people would lose it, or do you think there's enough goodwill with Shanahan and Lynch that they could withstand the negative that comes with trading arguably the face of the franchise?
Oh, they'd lose it. They'd lose their minds because Larry, you know as well as I do that players that play skill possessions are always valued so much more in the minds of 49er fans or just fans in general. It's always the skill position guys because those are the guys that are putting up the numbers that you debate, argue, and talk about all the time. Last year, when there was talks that Deebo might get traded, most people in my mentions were like, if we don't get at least 2 first-round picks, then this is a no deal. And I'm like, he's not worth 2 first-round picks. If you look at the other receivers that got traded, he's worth a first and like maybe a third or a fourth. That's the value. That's the going rate. And that first isn't a top 4 pick like the Jets had. It's more like the 15th pick. That's what he's worth. And come to find out, that's basically what was offered for him. So yeah, I think fans would freak out, especially if they got back some of the names that you mentioned. Most likely they don't know those guys. They're not big name guys.
Right.
And so they wouldn't see the vision behind it. So there'd be a lot of frustration, I would imagine.
Just looking at the particulars on Deebo's deal, if you move him before June 1st, the Niners have to eat $28 million in dead money. So that ain't happening. That's just simply not going to happen. So if you get into the post June 1st designation, then it's more palatable. The Niners would wind up eating about $4 million in dead cap if they move Deebo in that situation, but they would save, $15 million in 2024, $11 million in 2025. I mean, here's the thing about this, and this is
I think this too, Larry.
Yeah.
I think it would have to be a situation where they would literally go to the Pats. They would have a handshake agreement. Don't let this out. We got a handshake agreement. We want your first round pick. So when that pick's on the board, we want you to pick this player. Once you get him, that's our guy. And then we're adding in another player, that we figure out before. And then once June comes, yeah, that's when we're making the deal. That's the only way to do it in a sly way. You would have to have a handshake agreement, which I'm sure is not legal, but you
see it in the
do
NBA.
what you got to do.
You see it in the NBA. You just don't see those kinds of trades in the NFL. Here's the other thing, and I don't know where you weigh in on this, but I hate trading players for picks when the player that you're trading is a for sure, because let's be honest, there's a failure rate in every draft pick, whether it be the first pick in the draft or the last pick in the draft. There's some percentage of chance that player is going to be nothing or hurt. So when you have a player that's good and productive and playing at a really high level, and you like his character and he fits in your locker room, to me, I think trading him for draft picks is not good business. I didn't like the way the Buckner trade worked out. You traded DeForest Buckner. He commanded double teams. He was a guy that you loved. He was a leader in the room. And you got a pick, but you turn that pick into Kinlaw. And now Kinlaw is getting bounced around in the playoffs and doesn't look anything close to DJ Jones, let alone DeForest Buckner. And so it's like, if I'm trading a for sure stud, big time guy, I got to get multiple picks back, because they don't have to be ones, but I got to get multiple picks back, because the odds are, let's say you get 2 or 3 picks, one of those picks ain't going to work out. And you just traded a guy that there's no question about. So I don't know. It's like the team that's trading for Deebo, what are they really risking? They know what they're getting. Like Miami trading for Tyreek Hill. They traded some picks, but who knows how those picks are going to work out? They might work out, but they might not work out. So I don't know. To me, if I'm trading an established star like a Deebo, a Tyreek, a DeForest Buckner, I want multiple picks. I want multiple bites of the apple. I want a Dallas Cowboy, Minnesota Viking, Herschel Walker kind of I want you to kill me with a lot of picks. Now I'll back off the first round if you'll throw a bounty of picks at me, but I'm taking a bounty of picks, and I may not ask for a 1, but I need multiple 2s, and I need, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a failure rate. Some of these picks are going to be busts. And then if you don't hit, like the Niners didn't hit on Kinlaw, what did you do? You divested yourself of a front 7 monster who commanded a double team, and now that may cost you a Super Bowl. Who knows? That move for Buckner may have already cost the Niners a Super Bowl victory.
Yeah, it definitely could have. And let me throw out this hypothetical at you, because somebody had asked me a similar question on my channel, and they wanted to know, and the rule was you have to trade somebody. You can't weasel your way out and say nobody. So the rule was you had to trade somebody, and what would you trade them for? Let me throw this hypothetical out at you. I said Deebo, and I said if the Jets came knocking again like they did last year, and they gave me Elijah Moore, and they gave me Mekhi Becton, think I might say yes to that deal for Deebo Samuel because I get my future right tackle and I get a receiver that I think is actually a good route runner and could be a very good receiver in this league to replace him. What would you say to that deal?
So it's Deebo to the Jets for Elijah Moore, who's already, talked his way out of that situation, but he's just still on the roster, and Becton, who's been injured. It's funny that you're bringing this up, Jesse, because I actually brought up, I don't love that deal. I think I'd want more than that deal. I'd
What
want
if they
more
gave
than
you a
Elijah Moore.
third? They gave you a third round pick as well this year.
Now you're talking. Now you're
Okay.
talking.
All right. All
Now,
right.
now you're talking. I may want a fifth as well, but I mean,
Okay. All right. All
now
right.
you're talking.